Hi everyone, we're gonna cook chicken chow mein today. And that means different things to a lot of people. American chicken chow mein with the crispy noodles, or the chicken chow mein with the small noodles, or is it lo mein, or is it, the pan-fried noodles with the sauce in it? Okay, we'll talk about that later, but today we're gonna make chicken chow mein. This is chow mein noodles as opposed to lo mein noodles. This chow mein noodles is basically a thin noodle. It's wok fried, stir fried in your wok. So some of it's gonna be crispy, some of it's gonna be sauce. It's gonna have your meat and your vegetables all together. Not a lot of sauce though, but that's what chow mein is, chicken chow mein. It's with these Hong Kong style noodles, thin noodles, and they come in two kinds. Fresh, made noodles that are raw, they need to be cooked. And this is about a 1 pound bag, 16 ounces. And we're gonna use half of it today, about 8 ounces of this. If you can't find that, they also make the dried version, and you'll see this is Oriental style egg noodles. Sometimes they'll be labeled Hong Kong noodles also. This is what they look like. They're thin noodles. They come in this little bundles like this, right? And the most important thing is that when I call in the recipe for 8 ounces of fresh noodles, you've got to take half of it in dry noodles. So 4 ounces of dry noodles. So in this case, your kitchen scale is your friend. This pack is about 16 ounces also. But this pack of dried noodles will make 32 ounces, exactly double, in fresh noodles. Whereas this is 16 ounces, so this dry packet, they both weigh the same. They'll make twice the amount of noodles. A lot of people in the comments have said, hey, there seems to be a lot of noodles here. And they realized that they made 16 ounces of dry noodles and doubled the recipe unknowingly. Both of these noodles have to be cooked, whether they're dried or whether they're fresh. And make sure that they're slightly al dente, slightly undercooked, because you're gonna throw them in the wok again. Okay, so I've got my fresh noodles here. I've got a good amount of boiling water in the wok, and I'm just gonna toss these in. And I'm gonna use a chopstick, sort of zhuzh them apart, spread them out.
While my dad boils those noodles, let me explain what he was talking about earlier. Around here, we often find ourselves navigating the ever-changing recipe names and permutations of dishes that are being translated and cooked in real time. Quote-unquote chow mein is a dish that has undergone a particularly significant amount of change since we started the walks of life. Case in point, if you head to our website and type in chow mein, before we created this recipe, there were 2 types. American chow mein, which is a chicken and vegetable stir-fry topped with crispy deep-fried egg noodles, just as a garnish, not a noodle dish. The other is a Cantonese-style pan-fried noodle topped with saucy chicken and vegetables, gai si chow mein. This was the one we grew up knowing, and any other chow mein was, as far as we were concerned, an American code word for who knows what. We didn't think about it, we didn't eat it, and for most of our lives, we had no idea what people were talking about. Now the American chow mein has fallen a bit out of vogue, and a chow mein stir-fried with vegetables and chicken is what's for dinner and what's popular across the country. Though as the recipe has become more mainstream among non-Chinese cooks, the lines have blurred too much between saucier lo mein. Why are all these folks taking Hong Kong-style noodles that are meant to be delicious and crispy and making a soft, saucy noodle dish? There really should be some crispiness and browning in the wok, hence this recipe. We hope that clears up some of the confusion and sets the record straight. Now let's get back to the recipe.
So now this has been going about 30 seconds.
The package, whatever it says, it's too long.
Right.
I think 30 seconds.
So I'm just gonna turn this flame off right now. Now I'm gonna put these in here, take them out. I'm just gonna run this right now, some cold water in here. Stop the cooking process. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get these stray noodles. Get the rest of these stray noodles here. But I didn't want to make sure I stop that cooking process, because these noodles you definitely don't want to be mushy noodles. Pour these noodles out like that, and then use this as a base. Let it drain. And while that's draining, I'm going to wash the wok and get ready for the next step. So if you want to dry your noodles quickly, Take a clean kitchen cloth. Just like that. Now you can definitely feel it is dried out. So if you're in a rush, and you don't have a lot of time to wait for this to dry out, use the kitchen towel method. And make sure the entire wok is coated with oil. We're going to heat this until it smokes. Toss them right in. Spread them out kind of thin with your wok spatula. You see it kind of cooled off the wok pretty quickly. And just let them fry. At home, you'll probably use this on high the whole time, but here I've got some really high heat, so I'm going to I've turned it down slightly, otherwise I'm going to scorch or even burn the noodle. You can even take a peek at it. You can see it's starting to scorch a little bit for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start turning this. Like do a step like that and turn it. And you see some crispy spots. If you want to, you can put a little bit more oil and you get a nice brown, a nice browner color, and it cooks nicer. But there's a balance between a nice brown noodle and being a little bit too oily, so you got to use your own judgment there. So basically what you're doing is just pan frying it a little bit or wok frying it, and then we're going to remove this. So now you get a little bit of nice crispy texture in there, but it's still a soft noodle. This is a really important technique. A lot of recipes don't do this, but this is very important. So next, we're going to sear the meat. There we go. We're going to spread it in one layer. Now you notice that this chicken is cooked in like strips, julienne strips. In Chinese cooking, you want all the shapes of the dish to be the same. So since this is noodles and has elongated shape, long noodles, you actually want your chicken julienne instead of big pieces. Like all our recipes, we'll cook this about 80%. So now we've got both sides seared. I'm just going to give it a toss. Return it to my chicken bowl. About 80% cooked. Okay, I'm not going to clean the wok. There's a lot of nice good stuff we're going to do to deglaze it. So I'm going to put a little, again, start with a little bit more oil. And for me, I like to put the ginger in next. Make sure we caramelize the ginger. Now, these aromatics are very interesting however you like it. If you really like a strong ginger taste, then you might want to put the ginger in together with the garlic and not cook it as much. And then next, we'll put the carrots and the mushrooms in. These are snap peas, so I think they can stand a little bit more cooking. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these noodles in. Now we're going to put our chicken and the sauce and our pre-made mixed sauce. I'm going to pour it all over in here. The heat should be going really high now. And then you mix in a scooping motion. Up and down. And this is where we're going to get some nice wok hay. Spread it out a little bit. Move it to the middle. Let the sides heat up. And at this point, it looks a little dry, which we got some glaze on the side because we got high heat. I'm just going to deglaze it with a little water, a little bit more Shaoxing wine. Going to spread it out and get a little bit more sear. That gives you a flavor. And you know what? I'm gonna zhuzh it with a little bit of Shaoxing wine. Put in our bean sprouts.
Let's see.
Put in our scallion that I almost forgot. Oh yeah, now it's starting to get a little bit of a crisp to it. And you notice this move that I'm doing here. I'm lifting and I'm shaking to break up the noodles. Lifting, shaking, lifting, shaking. And this fresh taste of this scallion and the fresh taste of those bean sprouts. You don't want those bean sprouts to be in there too long because then they're going to get all wilted and they're going to disappear. Turn off the flame, and this is ready to plate. Don't be afraid to get all these crispies on the side of the wok. That's all flavor. These are nice and crispy. You don't get a soupy lo mein like chow mein. This is the real deal. Here it is. Home cooked chicken chow mein, just like the restaurant, and some say better. All right, so this chicken chow mein, remember.
This chicken chow mein.
Chicken chow mein.